Okay, so next we're going to do the really long-winded name exercise, clipping mask channel transform. So that's the one with the rocks. And you're going to select the channels 2 layer and then open also the channels window. So that's a bit confusing. You have the channel layer and then you have the channel window. And again, sorry about that. And so I'm selecting the most high contrast channel, which for me is green. It has the most light dark contrast. So with that decided, I clicked and dragged the green channel into the new channel icon with the plus sign to create a copy of it. Now I'm changing the layers, or sorry, levels of that green copy to be really, really high contrast, and that will make it so that when you load the channel as a selection, it will detect the light areas and select those. Okay, so that's really high contrast. I'm going to zoom in and show you that. And I think that's good. And for some reason it's all red. But that's okay. If that happens, just ignore it. It will go away. And now I'm selected the channels by going to load channel selection icon, which is the little circle marquee in the bottom of the channel panel. And what happened is I selected the light areas of the channel, but what I really want is the dark areas, which are the rocks. So what I'm going to do is right click, select inverse, and then it will select the dark or black areas of the channel instead. And now with that selected, I can go back to my photo and zoom in and shift select some more of that rock that didn't quite make it. It's not foolproof method of selection, but it can be really helpful to select high contrast areas, such as the rocks against the lighter sand area. The channels are really good for that. And next, I'm going to take this selection, copy it, open the number 1 layer, and then paste it. Paste the rock selection. And now it will automatically be added to its own layer, so I can change the visibility of the channels 2 layer and only show the layer 1 and then my rock selection layer. And now I'm taking the eraser tool to erase any extraneous debris. I didn't quite get everything, but you can also transform the rocks layer to fit it better in the environment. And now I'm going to add a bunch of adjustment layers. Right now, the adjustment layer is affecting everything. And I realize now I only showed my shadow color balance shift and not my highlights. And I'm looking and realizing that. And what I wanted was for the darker areas of the rocks to be warm. And right now I'm clipping that color balance adjustment layer to the rocks layer. So now the color balance only affects the rocks. And so I'm changing the shadows to be warmer, and the highlights or midtones, this time the highlights, should be bluer, and it's unfortunately not in the instructions. And by choosing specifically highlights, that makes it so that dark areas maintain their warmth that I adjusted in the shadows part of the color balance. So next I'm going to add a new layer, and this layer should be dragged below the copy and pasted rocks. And then I'm going to select what looks like could be a river in this pathway. Get nice and smooth flowing. It doesn't matter if it goes off the artboard a little bit. And for some reason I selected the rocks to add my paint bucket fill. That is the wrong move. you're supposed to add your paint bucket fill to the new layer. So for me in this image, it's layer 4. And I accidentally put on layer 3, which is my rocks. So go back to layer 4, fill it with blue. It doesn't really matter what color it is, but if you wanted to have it show through a bit for any reason, a blue color can be nice. But in this exercise, we didn't end up having it show through at all. So we did that. Now we have an opaque river-like shape in my layer, and the rest of it's transparent. So when I clip this, what's it called, river layer to that shape, the river will only appear in that new shape because it's clipped to it. So again, I Alt-Option-clicked between the two layers to make a clipping mask. And now with the river layer selected, I can distort it, and it will stay in its clipping shape, which is the blue shape again. And I can adjust the shape of that. And now to fully integrate it, I'm going to keep that river selected, go to not edit adjustments, image adjustments, and color balance. And I'm just going to simply make it bluer. That should integrate it better. And something else you can do too is go back to that blue shape, or go back to the rocks and delete some rocks again. And then you can go back to the blue shape, and if you want to make the edge less hard, you can take a soft eraser. Right now I have a hard eraser, so you'll want to change that maybe. Like right now I'm changing it to be a softer eraser and integrate that a little bit more and make it less of a hard edge cutout shape. And that's something else I'm missing in the instructions.